Give them a kick in the ass that they jump 2 feet in the air.
So the big boy forklift that we got needed a little bit of TLC. We've done all of that, tested it, everything worked, lifted the forks, drove it around the shop, everything works as intended. So what we're trying to do now is the shaft, the steering shaft on the forklift is finally fixed and it works now. But we're gonna have to put it back. And the technician has some issues, or they has a little bit of a hard time putting it back. We tried everything, lifting it with the forklift, forcing it in, it doesn't work. So I have to slightly modify the pin that holds the wheels to the steering shaft. Should I do a little bit more on the other one, or I'll go do this one a little bit more than I did the other one, and then we'll try it again. So you see, we're using the white belt sander, and I'm gonna take down, because most likely it has been installed and reinstalled multiple times and it's slightly deformed. And unless you get it exactly in the position that you took it out from, it's not gonna go in. But right now, we're doing some metal work. And hopefully I don't get to do my nails too. And tough. But it ain't no match for my sandpaper. Again, it's something that can withstand whatever. The capacity of the forklift is 12,000 pounds, right? Plus its weight. It weighs a little bit over 16,000 pounds. So it needs to shift the wheels of something that weighs, what, like 28,000 pounds? So it needs to be very, very hard steel. So again, because it has been pressed and hit, I can even see the dimples where it was hit. Most likely it was slightly deformed. And because the tolerances are so tiny, it just doesn't want to go back. This is the worn out one here, and I can even feel the ridges on it and the dimples where it was hit. And this is the one that we just prepared. And I could go more, but I don't want to overdo it. So we'll have him try it. This is the pin that we're trying to push in, and it locks the shaft to the actual wheel, the arm of the wheel. So, you see, before, like all ridges, slightly deformed. I can feel the edges here, they're quite rough. And look at this. And the pin is right there.
Oh yeah, I would love for them to come and spend a whole day here and see all the things that actually go wrong on a daily basis behind the scenes, and the impact that it has, and what it takes in terms of logistics to get us back on track from I don't know, simply running out of materials because some pieces were cut wrong, and this happens very often as well, because or to a machine, one of the machines, something happens to it, software or hardware, and we need to wait for a technician, or we need to improvise in the meantime, and you need to pivot to doing something else. So there's minimum probably 15 to 20 things that go sideways on a daily basis that we need to recover from to be able to keep the like approximate timeline that we give a client.
But the big test for me was lifting the actual pod, because that was the first job that I was thinking of addressing with this big forklift. Trying to lift the pod so that we can put the second pod that we have built on top of the first pod. And it was a total success. The exercise worked flawlessly. So now I was able to lift it all the way up to 12 feet off the ground. I wanted to see if there's any signs of being too heavy for the forklift. It's about 4,000 pounds, the whole structure, but it's very deep, very tall, so we want to be extra safe. That's why I just locked the back of this forklift with weight from the other forklift. I'm going to try to take the weight of the back of the first forklift, see if the wheels are going to want to lift off the ground. If they don't, it means that it holds. But hey, the test was a success. As I assumed, approximately 4,000 pound pod will not budge, or will not make a 12,000 pound capacity forklift budge, not even a little bit.